I want to make this personal for you, as personal as we can in video. I want you to think about some personal points of pain, some bumps in the road for your daily lives. I'll give you some examples. Some of my students here at the University of Virginia have suggested are, where can I get cheap, fast, but healthy food? How can I resell my furniture when I'm leaving school? How can I minimize the time I have to spend when I'm planning a major life event like a wedding? And someone even said, well, gee, how can I end relationships in a way that's not so painful as breakups often are? Each of these personal pain points contain the seeds of business ideas. When we take an approach to business like the one we've discussed for the past several weeks, yes, you have to make money and you have to create value for someone. I'm going to take a personal example of a pain point for me, and that's getting my car repaired. I don't know about you. Have you ever felt that you were ripped off when you got your car or your motorbike repaired? I don't know about where you live. In the U.S., sometimes car repair business has a reputation for not very ethical behavior, and I'm not very good at it. I was the guy in school who couldn't take an engine apart and put it back together. I think most guys are supposed to be able to do that, but I couldn't. And so getting my car repaired has always been one of those things where I was afraid I was going to get ripped off and not know what I was doing. So let's suppose you wanted to take advantage of that reputation of unethical behavior. And suppose you wanted to start a business that cleaned that up. You want to make the world a better place, and of course you got to make some money as well. So let's start a business. Let's call it Maggies Auto Repair. How would you think about that? Where Maggies Auto Repair is going to be an ethical, responsible car repair business. So let's go back to what we've talked about. Let's start with purpose. Well, what about something like what we're trying to do at Maggies Auto Repair is take the fear and unethical behavior out of the car repair business. I'm afraid to get it repaired, so I'm afraid I'm going to get ripped off. Let's take that out. Or maybe our purpose is provide trustworthy car repair for our town. The scope is different in both of these businesses, but both turn out to be viable. So let's think about stakeholders. So at purpose, let's think about stakeholders. In the first model, you might want to find a way to provide a service to existing car repair businesses who want some kind of stamp of assurance, the Maggie stamp of assurance, that they meet ethical guidelines. That leads you down a path of figuring out what would be important. How important are issues like a return service, no questions asked, or transparency about where parts might come from, or pricing transparency. Why does labor cost really this much? Or maybe it's about recycling of materials. What happens to the old parts? Maybe it's about environmental cleanup. What happens when you get the oil changed? How does that process work? You can imagine coming up with something like a scorecard that would rate car repair services on these criteria. And that would be one way to take this idea of taking the fear and the unethical behavior out of car repair services. A second model might focus more on the geography where you live, of building a brand of car repair that becomes known for its good business practices. You would have to treat customers transparently and fairly, be good citizens in the community, and do all of the kinds of things we've talked about in this course so far to create value for stakeholders. This is a really simple idea. But you take a point of pain in your life and you think about, how can I create a business that would make this go away? There are multiple ways to do it. Maggies Auto Repair could become an international stamp that cleaned up the industry, or it could be one garage that built its own reputation. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about some pain points that may contain the possibility of new business ideas. You should feel free to share them on the discussion forums, but also understand that when you share them on the discussion forums, your ideas become public.